didn't see her smile on her face. She saw the same thing, and yet she's so contagious with her smiles. Our beautiful bride is one magnificent girl, beloved from our daughter Princess of David.
Okay, so like I told you, there has to be a background. And I'm not just going to jump to the success without telling you the story. I was that child that was sent to an uncle as a house help. I was that child that was born to a teenage mother. My mother was just 18 when she had me. And back in those days, having a child at that age and not married was a taboo or something you cannot tell people. I would not be introduced. I was that child that was broken. I was that child that came back to my mother's home as a house help. I was that child that cleaned up after my siblings when they go to school, and then I have to go to school with my slippers. I watched my siblings wear socks and shoes, get in the car, go to school where I have to clean up and go to a community school with 3 classrooms. I was that child that was called the bastard. I was that child that was told I could never be anything. And today, I am Jamila Anita, the owner of the most patronized dinosaur on the platform, the biggest dinosaur on the platform. So I'm coming from somewhere. You know, people want to know how you will get there, but they don't know where you're coming from. They don't want to know how you got there. I was that child that used to hawk on the street, hawk granules, all those teenage children. I was that same child. It's still the same day. Life is hard. I cannot tell you anything else. It is really, really hard. But one thing I can tell you today, there is what? Grace. Grace is there at every point. There is grace if you listen to yourself. So let me take your questions. I've laid the background.
Sorry. Okay. How do you define beauty?
Okay, when I saw your question, how do I define beauty? I ordered for a shoe. You saw me went out. I kept calling the vendor from Lagos. Please, I have an event. I need to wear this shoe. The shoe is something different. You know, I wanted to say something to our young people. Beauty is not just about how you look physically. And I tell brides when they come to my store, men are not just particular about how you look. There is just 5% of how you look that they think. But they think about something more, your qualities as a woman.
Thank you, man. All right. Now, before starting your business, I believe when you have this dream about something, there's usually this excitement. You have this dream, when you talk about it, you see beautiful pictures, you see one thing, you're happy about it. Now, that is quite different from actually starting the business. So what's the post-excitement and actually starting it? What is it like?
Okay, so post-excitement happens to everybody for business. You know, when you have this idea, you're excited, you already see the big picture in your mind. And then you're too excited, and you think because you're excited, you see the picture, eventually everything will work out. Or it will not work out. You need to work. There's a process to success, and you have to put in the work. If you don't put in the work, that excitement, 1 week, it's gone. I'll tell you a story. There was a lady, I cannot remember her. She went to Dubai, came back, got the store. She was all excited. Beautiful bride. I just opened shop. Come and do this. And then like a month later, she came to me and she said, Kai, now wow, I never I say, yes, welcome on board. You know, you have to work. Success is a process. People want to jump the process. You cannot jump the process. You can't jump the process from 1 to 2 and I want to be successful hard way. I like the hard way, you know. And for beautiful bride that you see here today, based on my background, I attempted suicide before the age of 15. So from the little I told you, you can imagine where I was coming from. I attempted suicide before the age of 15. I was abandoned at the age of 15. And who can tell me where I was abandoned? I was abandoned in the biggest city in Nigeria, in Lagos. No friend, no relative, nothing. I went to live with my father. And then one morning, he told me, when I went to live with my father before then, my father is a gambler, a seasoned writer, a big author, a big Nigerian author. I'm not very economist, but he's a gambler. And so when I went to meet him, he lived in one room. He had one plate, everything one, like that. And I told him, look, I'm just going to stay because I lived with my mother as a house help. My mother is a great woman. She's a good mother. But at 18, what were you expecting? I was not, the expectation, she didn't even know how to handle her situation. You know, at 18, you have a child, and then when they ask you, who is this? You say, it's my house help. Because you don't want people to know that that is your child. That was the society that. And then one day, my father, we lived in the room, this Lagos house. What do they call it? Face me, I'll face you. Face me, I'll slap you. That was in 𝐘𝐿𝐷, the last bus stop. And one morning, I saw my father cleaning the fan. He sleeps on the bed, I sleep on the mat. And then he told me there was no future in education, and I should go and learn sewing, tailoring, which I did. He enrolled me. I was going for that tailoring. Until one day, I saw him cleaning the fan, and I was like, oh, maybe the fan was dirty. So he now told me he wants to go back to Ilorin. I said, Ilorin came. We just came to Lagos. Now we think they will do for Ilorin again. And that's the story of my abandonment. And I went to where I was learning sewing, and I came back, and the landlady saw me coming back as normal. And she came back, she said, what are you doing here? I said, what am I doing here? She now said, your father has packed out. Eh? Packed out, okay? I opened the door. It was just my bag, my clothes in a leather bag. I was barely 15. My mom was in Latvia. I had nobody. There was nobody. It was a difficult time. But I can tell you, if I'm here today, you can make it. You can make it. Until there was this lady living upstairs, and I quickly went to her, and she was getting married, and I told her, see, I came back, I can't find my father. My father is gone. We're not full, nothing. And she said, okay, fine, I'm getting married. I need somebody to be in the house, work with all of that. And I said, please, auntie. And then she said, I can sleep in the passage. I said, okay. And because she was moving from that house to a house given to her by her in-laws. And that was how my father abandoned me at the age of 15. It's a long story. It's a long shot to success. There are no shortcuts. If I begin to tell you my story today, we will not live here. People want to say, how did you get here? I got to Beautiful Bride based on dedication. First of all, I had to build integrity for my business. I build integrity, and for me, integrity is key. Integrity is everything for me. If I say this, let it be this. And then, of course, dedication. Let me say something about dedication. Dedication actually brought me here. Like he was saying, it's not about how much you're being paid. So what happened is that the story is so long, so I'm jumping there. Now, I went back to school. I was a school dropout. So I went back to Kano, went back to school, and started working at the post office. That's the Nigerian post office, which was in the town. And then BUK, that's Bayero University, where I went to, is in Kabuga. And you know how Nigerian society is. They'll take the school to a place where they want development to be. So Kabuga is like this, and GPO is like this. And I lived in the garage because I could not afford a BQ. And I was so exposed that I was exposed physically, but mentally I was a child. I didn't even know what relationship and sex were all about. And so I worked at the post office, the Nigerian Postal Service. And one thing was that I was always favored because now I'm very big. I used to be very tiny and very fair. And so they put me at the counter. And my salary was 1,250 naira. And every day, every blessed day from that garage where I lived, I never missed work. I was dedicated to that work. And I'll tell you where dedication pays. After many years, I will, from Kabuga to GPO, is like 3 drops to go and to come. And so most times, I may have money for 2 drops, so I will trek more than 1 hour every single day to go to work, and I have to be at GPO at 8 o'clock, and then come back home and then go to school. I had to do part-time because there was nobody to pay my school fees. And just one day, after living in a garage, just one day, after living on a cup of rice and beans for days, just one day, after many years of asking God, what have I done to you? Why am I here? Just one day, a man walked into the general post office. I just want you to picture this with me. The man walked in, had very good skin. He smelled very nice. Remember, I've been working in the post office for years, so I know that regular people who come there. And he walked straight to me just one day. After all the years of pain. And he walked straight to me and he said, I'm just around the neighborhood, and I wanted to open our mailbox, but it's locked. So usually the mailbox, the post office box is locked inside if you have not been paid. So I said, okay, maybe you guys have not paid. He said, but the driver never told me. So I know, okay, the record office is upstairs. Everything is done manually. So you go to the record office, they will check the box number, and then if you have not paid, you clear, and then we'll just go to the back and open it. And when the man was done, he came back to me and said, what is a beautiful girl like you doing sending stamps? And then I smiled, because then I had also applied for, when they are doing an aptitude test, we hear aptitude test, Oshwemi Bank, I passed the test, but went for the interview in Abuja, but we were not called. And then Intercontinental, there was a time they were doing the aptitude test around there, where they just built his place now. Not at the school. It was like a school there. So they did up to millions of people. We went, I did the aptitude test. And then he said, what I need to win? I said, well, I've been looking for a job, or I'm not seeing a job. He reached into his pocket and brought out a complimentary card. And he will help me with this line. Now, in banking, we have what we call the beginner's level, right? From beginner's level, I don't know how many stage, but I want you to count with me the caliber of the card he gave me. Let's start from the managerial card. He didn't give me a card of a bank manager. He didn't. He didn't give me a card of after a bank manager. What's the next? A senior manager. He didn't give me a card of a senior manager. He didn't give me a card of an AGM. He didn't give me a card of a general manager. He gave me a card of an ED, an executive director of Zenith Bank, which has to be approved by CBN. That is the caliber of card he gave me. And at the point, I didn't know the importance of that card. And of course, I had all this confidence and I walked into Zenith Bank. And in Zenith Bank, when they are doing aptitude tests, you will not see anybody. So when I walked in there, and it was Jamila Anita, the late Jamila Anita. It's a long story from her, so that we don't keep while we're here. And I want to say to young people, if you're not dedicated to what you're doing, or now the road far, you won't get there. You have to be dedicated to what you're doing. You have to be determined to succeed. You have to be intentional with your life. If you just want to live anyhow, life will treat you anyhow. So dedication for me brought me to where I am today. Because if I had not met that man, I wouldn't have gotten the job in Zenith Bank. And this even will not be here. Funding is a challenge. Sounding is not a challenge. It depends on your mindset. Now, I've seen people who start business with 1 million and they cannot grow it. Me, I cannot say I am perfect, but I have been highly favored. Coming from where I am coming from, I'm intentional, I don't misuse, you understand? So because I was coming from the bank, I got a little bit of assistance. God always put help somewhere around. And I want to say this. I used to ask young people questions. Why do you want to give up after trying number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4? Have you lived this life before? No. Something that you are just learning to do. You bet number 1, you're discouraged. Why? So funding your ability to manage whatever small thing you have. I started with just 7 dresses. Not like I started big. I started with just 7 dresses, and because we built in integrity into our brand, there is dedication. I'm very hardworking. There is no day that I don't come to work. And if you work with me, you're lazy, you cannot work. We cannot work. I don't work with lazy people because me, myself, I'm not lazy. And so if you get funding, some people want to have 1 million before they start tomorrow. It didn't work. You get small money. We started with just 7 dresses, and today I cannot tell you how many dresses we have. So it takes dedication, it takes commitment, it takes consistency, it takes hard work. And of course, there's something I want to say to people here. You must know who you are. You must definitely know who you are. Because if you don't know, you cannot grow up of yourself. If you don't know who you are, you cannot even understand where you're going to. I see there's a lot of noise in our society today. There's social media noise. There's, what do you call it now? There is, she said something about it, I'll remember. I had very low self-esteem growing up as a child. Yes. No, not self-esteem. Yes. I didn't feel I was worthy of anything. Because if I was coming as a child from that background, so you can imagine, I looked at my siblings as like their angels, And so there's a lot of noise in our society today. But if you do not know who you are, you cannot know where you're going to, and you must define where you're going to. And there's a process to get there. You cannot get there by saying amen. You get there by hard work. I don't know how to say it. You get there by hard work, by being intentional.